Disclaimer. This video contains music and video footage that I didn't create. Psychonauts is owned by Double Fine. This video contains psychedelic imagery, frightening imagery, and spoilers for Psychonauts. Viewer discretion is advised. This video contains opinions from some guy on the internet whose opinions don't matter. I'm not trying to attack any other opinions, nor do I believe that my opinion is in any way factual or objective. Don't let my opinion influence yours. Gather your own opinion by consuming the source material. If you hate opinions other than yours, please use discretion when commenting. This video is not intended for children under the age of 13, nor is my channel. Child Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, states that nobody under the age of 13 should have, among other things, a YouTube account. Hello boyos, girlos, and non-binary genderlos, and welcome to The Grind, the show where I try to stave off my hype for sequels by evaluating their predecessors. Psychonauts 2 has long been out since the time I'm recording this. I meant to record this 3 weeks before it came out, so today we're looking at Double Fine's little darling, Psychonauts. Psychonauts is a 3D platformer created by Double Fine and released in 2005, being published by Majesco Entertainment until 2013, in which Double Fine got the license back. According to the Psychonauts wiki, the game was created and directed by Tim Schafer, designed by Eric Robinson, written by Tim Schafer and Eric Wolpaw, proposed by Peter McConnell, and with art by Scott Campbell, Peter Chan, Nathan Stapley, and Guarv Mather. It follows Rasputin Aquato, 10-year-old psychic acrobat who's invited by a mysterious figure to come to Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp to refine his powers. Little did he know he'd be greeted with a conspiracy of tanks powered by stolen brains, however. It's about time I cover another favorite game of mine, considering that the past 3 have been games I've only beaten for the first time. So without further ado, grab your Psycho Portal and let's get into the mind of Psychonauts.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
Psychonauts follows Rasputin Aquato, a psychic circus acrobat who runs away from his family's circus to get away from his father, who doesn't appreciate his gift, forcing him to do acrobatics every day, seemingly for the rest of his existence. Raz sneaks into a government-controlled summer camp for psychic children called Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp. He assumes he will be accepted instantly because he's there. However, after staying the night, Special Agent Mia Vidello calls Raz's dad, who's going to pick him up within the coming days. Raz participates in Coach Marcel Oleander's training program anyway. Raz is thrust into a military-themed mental world where all of the campers are subject to many challenges and tribulations to get through the end of the course. Raz gets there early and finds a mysterious white room before he's kicked out of Coach Oleander's mind. Raz is then granted the basic Braining Merit badge, which allows him access to the rest of the camp and their programs. Agent Sasha 9 notices Raz's talent and invites him to the geodesic isolation chambers located in the wilderness nearby the camp. Raz heads there and finds Sasha's lab before Sasha gets him set up with the Brain Tumbler, which is a device that allows its user to enter the collective unconscious, the bridge between all mental worlds. Raz uses the collective unconscious to enter his own mind and is almost killed by a shadowy monster who spits a diving helmet at him. Sasha deduces that he used foreign marksmanship to defeat the beast, and tasks him with heading to the sanctuary of Ford Color, former higher-up of the Psychonauts, whose mind has since been shattered into many different pieces and can only be held together by Titanium, a mineral which enhances psychic power. Ford gives Raz the marksmanship learner's permit, and Raz heads back to Sasha for a marksmanship lesson. Raz is initially surprised with the cleanliness of Sasha's mind compared to Oleander's. Sasha says it's because he keeps everything under strict control. He begins the lesson by getting Raz to shoot some Tiffany lamps, before introducing him to sensors. The sensors are a natural process in every mind, used to get rid of waking dreams, manias, and other thoughts that don't belong. One of these things is psychics. Sensors Sasha summons are weak to marksmanship, and he tells Raz that he has to kill many sensors with marksmanship to get the merit badge. After Sasha leaves Raz unsupervised, Raz notices a lever with levels between 1 and 5, with an additional level only labeled with a skull and crossbones. Raz predictably sets it to that marker, and all hell breaks loose. Sasha comes back and tells Raz to close the sensor valves using marksmanship. To do this, Raz has to climb over many objects representing Sasha's infancy, childhood, and early adult life. After closing the vents, the sensor buildup gets too powerful, leading to the release of the Mega Sensor. Raz then defeats the Mega Sensor and is rewarded with the marksmanship merit badge. Raz then re-enters his own mind, only to discover a thorny tower with Dr. Caligosto Lobato inside, who is about to remove his fellow camper Dogan Bull's brain. Raz tries to stop him, but learns he'll need levitation to pass. Luckily, Mia is teaching a levitation lesson right then, so Raz heads to her for guidance. Raz goes to Mia's lesson, and she invites him into her mind, which is a party full of bright lights and colors, in which Raz must reach the end to earn his levitation merit badge. Raz completes the lesson with a little issue, and heads back to Sasha's lab for one last go at the Brain Tumbler. Raz reaches the top of the thorny tower, and it's too late to save Dogan's brain. Lobato throws it down a chute, and Raz follows it. Raz then battles a Psycho Blaster Death Tank, yes, that is its official name, and ends up in the same white room that he found in Oleander's mind, finally putting 2 and 2 together to realize that Oleander is stealing campers' brains to power an army of tanks so he can take over the world. Sasha turns off the Brain Tumbler and leaves on official Psychonauts business, before Raz notices that he left his Psycho Portal behind. Raz takes it in hopes of returning it to Sasha, and finds Lily Zanato at the docks. They discuss their findings, before Lily is kidnapped by the hideous hulking lungfish of Lake Oblongata, a mythical lake monster Raz was accused of being at the very beginning of the game. Raz gives chase using a bathysphere and heads underwater. Now I guess it's time I explain the Hand of Galosio. Raz's family was cursed by a rival circus family, the Galosios, to die in water. Functionally, this manifests itself as a hand that will grab Raz if he goes into large bodies of water. Raz finds the lungfish and defeats it in a battle before entering its mind, to find out where it took Lily. When Raz enters the lungfish's mind, he sees a giant version of himself stomping around in a tiny city known as Lungfishopolis. Raz helps a group of rebels resist the control of the people by Kochamara, a mental version of Coach Oleander, by destroying an antenna that has been broadcasting propaganda throughout the mind. Raz then leaves the lungfish's mind, and it then thanks him for freeing her from its control. That's right, it's a her. She tells Raz that her name is Linda, and takes Raz across the lake to an abandoned insane asylum known as Thorny Towers Home for the Disturbed, where Lobato is headquartered. Raz arrives there and is greeted by a locked gate and the security guard Boyd Cooper. Boyd rambles nonsense and is scrawling conspiracy theories on the walls, and refuses to give Raz access to the rest of the asylum because he doesn't have the key. The Milkman does. Raz enters Boyd's mind to figure out where the Milkman is. Raz then learns that the Milkman is supposedly dead, but Boyd doesn't believe this. Raz is then given access to the clairvoyance ability to see the world the way Boyd sees it. Raz then encounters the G-Men, government agents with horrible disguises looking for the Milkman, and the Rainbow Squirts, a group of demented Girl Scout wannabes who keep the Milkman hidden. Raz gains access to their den and fights the dead mother before freeing the Milkman. The Milkman utters the famous line, "I am the Milkman, my milk is delicious," before rising to the heavens with Raz in tow. The Milkman then begins throwing Molotov milk bottles at the G-Men and the censors, who have been absent until this point. Raz is then booted out of Boyd's mind and given access to the asylum. Boyd looks incredibly demented after this point, as Raz definitely broke something. Boyd prepares Molotov milk bottles, and Raz continues on his journey. Raz then finds Gloria von Guten bowing to a bunch of flower pots with faces drawn on them. When he tries to get past her, he gets chased out of the immediate area. He enters her mind to figure out what's going on in there. When he gets there, he's greeted by a drab theater with horribly acted plays of anecdotes from Gloria's life. He meets Becky Houndstooth, the director of the plays, and Jasper Rolls, a harsh critic of the plays. Raz then learns of the mysterious phantom that is killing performers for their bad acting. Raz is tasked by Becky to find Benita Soleil, Gloria's inner sunshine, who can save the plays. Raz finds her and activates a mood light so she isn't the only light on stage. Raz is then tasked with climbing to the catwalks using different stage props to take down the Phantom. Raz discovers that the Phantom is actually Jasper and engages in a fight with the critic before defeating him, making his critiques practically inaudible. Raz then gets Gloria's acting trophy as a reward. After entering the asylum proper, Raz meets Fred Bonaparte, a man who is haunted by the genetic memory of Napoleon Bonaparte, Edgar Tegli, an artist obsessed with bullfighting, and Crispin Whitehead, head orderly of the asylum and guardian of the elevator to Lobato's lair. Raz deduces he needs the help of the other inmates to get past Crispin, and luckily Crispin's vision is really bad, so as long as he vaguely looks like Lobato, he'll be able to pass. Raz enters Fred's mind to get his straitjacket and notices Fred and Napoleon playing a board game, Waterloo, with Fred constantly giving up. Raz plays the game for him and wins, and gives Fred the spirit to break free. Raz then gets his straitjacket, and Fred takes a nap. Raz then enters Edgar's mind, which is a black velvet world where Edgar is trying to build a tower of cards to the crying woman in the sky, but needs more cards. He keeps getting the tower dismantled by a massive bull by the name of Elodia. Raz defeats some luchadors to gain cards before he's tasked with stopping Elodia. Dingo and Flagrante arrives, ready to kill Elodia, before it's revealed that Elodia is actually Edgar himself, and that Dingo and the woman in the sky are just a manifestation of his longing for his high school romance. Raz defeats them, and Edgar throws them into an abyss, and paints Raz a portrait of Lobato to use for his disguise. Raz puts the pieces together and gets past Crispin, and climbs further into the asylum. He eventually reaches Lobato's lair and meets Shigor, Lobato's assistant. Shigor says that Lobato is holding Mr. Pokelope, her turtle, hostage, and she'll help Raz if he saves him. He does, and Mr. Pokelope hatches a plan to get rid of Lobato by pretending to be a brain and putting it into a Psychoblaster death tank before blasting it. The plan works, and Raz finds Lily, Sasha, and Mia, all debrained in the background. He regains them with Shigor's help before Oleander arrives, ready to rumble. Sasha and Mia levitate Lily and Raz back to the bottom of the asylum so they don't get hurt. The inmates decide to leave, and Boyd throws a Molotov into the asylum before being freed of his internal commands from Oleander. The inmates leave after that, and the asylum explodes. However, Mia, Sasha, Ford, and Oleander are levitated down to the ground. Raz finds Oleander's brainless body before realizing that Oleander's brain is inside a massive Psychoblaster death tank. The two fight, but Raz's brain is sneezed out, causing it to merge mental worlds with Oleander's, creating the meat circus. Raz finds a young version of Oleander trying to protect his bunny, Mr. Bun. Raz escorts little Ole around the circus before the Butcher, a representation of Oleander's father, arrives. Raz beats him, but then encounters a representation of his own father, Augustus Aquato, in there too. Raz escapes him, and then Raz's real father pushes through the barrier into his mind and kills the evil version of himself by throwing him into a meat grinder, inadvertently creating the two-headed dad monster. He gives Raz the power he needs to defeat it, and he does so. Raz is then taken out of his mind and reunited with his father, before the Psychonauts gain word that Truman Zanotto, Lily's father and grand head of the Psychonauts, has been kidnapped, that they have to rescue him. Ford, now equipped with a titanium backpack, gives Raz an official Psychonaut sweater before lifting him to their plane, the Pelican, and plot a course for the Rhombus of Ruin.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
Now that we are finally done talking about story, let's talk about gameplay. First, we'll talk about exploration. Whispering Rock, Thorny Towers, and the various mindscapes are all fully explorable, collectibles everywhere. Full of platforming like trapeze, tight ropes, and pole jumping, all in a circus-like feel. Collectibles are as follows: arrowheads and their mental counterpart, which are used as currency throughout the game. Psi cards, which can be converted into Psi challenge markers with Psi core and 9 cards. Psi challenge markers can be found in difficult areas or made with Psi cards and increase your Psi cadet rank by 1. Numerous scavenger hunt items, which increase Raz's Psi cadet rank by 4 for every 8 key collects. Dark brains, which increase your maximum health for every one collected. Mental health, aggression ammo, and confusion ammo, which increase your reserves of health, marks of chip ammo, and confusion grenades, respectively. Golden helmets, aggressive ammo capacity trophies, and golden question mark trophies, which increase your maximum life count, marks of chip ammo capacity, and confusion grenade ammo capacity, respectively. Astral projection layers, which function as extra lives. Emotional baggage and their corresponding baggage tags, which increase rank and give constant dart for every mine that you get all 5 of them in. They come in the form of suitcases, half boxes, steamer trunks, duffel bags, and purses. Figments of imagination, which are 2D objects that give you points, and when those points reach 100, your Psi cadet rank increases by 1. They go through a variety of appearances and colors based on the character's mind. Mental cobwebs, which can be collected with the cobweb duster and spun into Psi cards. Mental cobwebs often keep you from things you shouldn't be able to access at that moment that become necessary to destroy from the Mothman conspiracy onward. And memory vaults, which run around and when punched reveal memories of the mind you're in, giving insight to how they became the way they are. Raz gains 8, technically more than 8, Psi powers, which you can use throughout the game. These are Marksmanship, unlocked in Sasha's suit and gallery, which allows you to shoot enemies or objects with a powerful blast of energy. Levitation, unlocked in Mia's dance party, which allows you to move faster, jump higher, and glide on a rolling ball. Pyrokinesis, unlocked at Psi Cadet rank 10, which allows you to set things and people on fire. Telekinesis, unlocked at Psi Cadet rank 20, which allows you to pick things up and throw them. Invisibility, unlocked at Psi Cadet rank 30, which allows you to turn invisible for a short period of time. Shield, unlocked in Lungfishopolis, which allows you to protect yourself from all incoming damage for a short amount of time. Clairvoyance, unlocked in the Milkman Conspiracy, which allows you to see through others' eyes. And Confusion Grenades, often simplified to Confusion, unlocked in Black Velvetopia, which allows you to throw grenades that confuse enemies and people. Even though they aren't listed as merit badges Raz can obtain, Raz does have the abilities of Astral Projection, which allows him to enter mindscapes, Telepathy, which allows him to communicate with thought, and the Psi Punch, his melee attack. Psi Cadet rank is tied to Raz's Psi powers in certain thresholds of the game. As Raz collects things, his power increases, often causing powers to gain new abilities or just become offensive in some way if they weren't before, with the exception of Clairvoyance, which comes at its highest strength the moment you get it. The camp store also allows you to purchase goods with your arrowheads. These are the aforementioned Psi cores, the Dowsing Rod, which allows you to uncover deep arrowheads, which are much more valuable than your normal arrowhead, the Cobweb Duster, which allows you to clear mental cobwebs, Dream Fluffs, which can heal you, the Psi Energy Colorizer, which allows you to change the color of your psychic abilities by asking for it to do it, and the Mental Magnet, which allows you to absorb arrowheads, mental health, aggression ammo, and confusion ammo from further away.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
First in the gross, we have some of the figments. There's a lot of figments in Psychonauts. In fact, they account for the majority of Raz's Psi Cadet ranks, 60 out of 101 to be exact. However, some of the figments are incredibly difficult to see, let alone catch. This has been remedied in Psychonauts 2, at least to some extent, but we're not talking about that one today. Next is the point of no return. If you watched my Skeleton grind, you would know I despise points of no return, and in this game it's no exception. The Meat Circus is a mediocre level in and of itself, but it's made worse thanks to the fact that you have to get everything in the overworld sorted out before going there, or else you get cucked out of those ranks. At least they let you go to the other mines, but the problem is that there's practically nothing to do there after you've beaten them, especially if you're OCD like me and have to collect all the figments before finishing the thing. You also have to get all the collectibles in the Meat Circus in one go, making it incredibly difficult to deal with at times. To make matters worse, there's no such thing as post-game in this game. Once you're done, you're straight up done. Next we have some of the Psi powers. Invisibility is only used twice, and is relatively useless when compared to other options. Clairvoyance, while really cool, is functionally useless outside of the Milkman Conspiracy. Shield is only used in Lungfishopolis and is only ever useful again during the fight with the two-headed dad monster, where it isn't even required. Confusion is only used during Black Velvetopia to fight Elodio and Dingo, and that's it. Confusion is obtained in the second or third last mine in the game, depending on whether you go into Fred's mine right away or after Edgar. Then the game intends you to go to Fred's first, so confusion is unlocked and almost immediately discarded. Also, some of the upgrades for side powers are ridiculous. Infinite ammo for confusion and marksmanship unlocks at rank 95, making it useless by the time you get it. For some reason, the soundtrack to the game is incomplete in either version of it, which annoys the crap out of me due to how good the music is in this game. Lastly in the gripes is how you get to rank 101. Yes, not 100, 101. You have to redo the punching tutorial from Coach Oleander's Basic Braining 4 more times, where it gets ridiculously difficult and annoying to pull off. This took me 3 hours to do my first go at 101%.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
First in the Gushing Points is the humor. That Schaefer-Wolbach humor just works for some inexplicable reason. The game made me laugh on multiple occasions, both intentionally and unintentionally. The character designs, which I also really like, can often assist in comedy, as some of the characters look really funny. And yeah, the art style is quite polarizing amongst gamers, but I quite like it. It just assists the surreal vibe of the game, especially the mental world, gives you. The music is also incredible, always keying to the vibes of the area and just making the game all the more pleasant. Clairvoyance is a really cool side power, which just allows you to get tons of character lore just by seeing how they see you. Like how Mia sees you as an infant because she lost all of the children she took care of in an orphanage fire and sees you as somebody she needs to protect. Or how the nightmares have no idea what you're afraid of and want to know. Or how the emotional baggage sees you as a bellhop ready to take care of them. It's just stuff like that that I really enjoy. The different mindscapes all tell a story in the visual design alone, and it's amazing. You can tell how Boyd is paranoid through the winding suburbia of his mind and the excess of cameras within. You can tell how clear Sasha's mind is and how capable he is through the sheer cleanliness of his mind. It's just stuff like that that I really enjoy. Memory vaults are always a treat, and they give you an inside look into the minds of the characters they inhabit and give you some seriously dark lore. Like how Gloria's mom committed unalive because she was jealous of her daughter's fame. I just love seeing the way these guys take. Same with the Figments, as they can tell you a lot about a person just by the way they look. Lastly, we have Bacon. Ford is probably a candidate for my favorite character, and the Bacon lets you summon him at any time. It also functions as a mini bestiary, and I love me a good bestiary. Plus, Ford's quips are always great.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
Let's take a look into the mind of Psychonauts and see what I think of it. I'm going to start by saying a similar spiel to the Plants vs. Zombies grind. I complained a lot about this game, like a lot, but it's because I really freaking enjoy it. I love this game to pieces and can't wait to get my hands on the sequel. I'm grateful that Psychonauts exists and that it is now officially a franchise. Sure, it's an old game, but I love it all the same. I mean, sure, the game has outdated mechanics, but that's just due to the era the game was made in. I can tell the developers, writers, and everyone else that worked on this game loved it to pieces, and the game just breathes that passion. Every minute detail just breathes personality, and I love it. Psychonauts does, however, have a few problems, despite me gushing about it so much. Some collectibles are annoying to obtain, some outdated mechanics like the point of no return still aren't me, and there's, of course, that punching minigame. But overall, those don't make me dislike the game at all. This game gets a 9 out of 10. No doubt one that I'd recommend to anyone. Sure, it's got some foul language in it, but other than that, it's an amazing game for all demographics of gamers, especially those who like platformers. The game's world is very interesting, the characters are all amazingly great, acted, and designed, and the gameplay is just perfection. Give Psychonauts a try. Trust me, it goes on sale for dirt cheap all the time. Thanks for watching this episode of The Grind. What did you think of Psychonauts? Did this video inspire you to pick it up? Let me know. What games would you like to see me cover next on The Grind? Comment down below and maybe they'll become a future episode. Anyway, I'm off to go see what the inside of my mind looks like, and hopefully I don't see any killer plants. So until then, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.